And a system outage once caused an Indian bank's branches to stay open after their closing time. That doesn't sound bad until you find out what happens to Indian bank branches after closing time. Okay, that sounded a bit more like a horror story, but it's not that kind of horror story. I was managing a major Indian bank as a customer. The bank branch had built their closing system on our platform, and they had raised some tickets that the system was down and they needed some help fixing it. And they kept escalating and escalating and escalating. But on our end, it looked as though a normal system issue, and we kept it going on normal priority. It took about 2 days to fix, and I thought that was pretty good actually. Then, after about a month, I flew to India, and their VP sat me down and explained that when bank branches don't close in India, in tier 2, tier 3 cities, or some places which are even a bit more rural, firstly, the bank branch employees cannot go home. And maybe transport is not that easily accessible, so it could take 1-2 hours to get home. That's not nice. But beyond that, and what's worse, is that if the bank branch doesn't close, there's a serious robbery risk. Now, this kind of surprised me. So because I'm Indian by race, and I've been going to India since I have been a kid. But I'm also third generation Singaporean, and I've lived in a different kind of environment. I had no idea that this was the reality, and neither did my management. So we were tracking uptime results, uptime metrics, and they were tracking whether employees were going back home safe. And this is where companies may fail when they're trying to expand regionally, because they think they can understand the market because they can see the data, but what the data doesn't tell you is what is actually happening on the ground. You see an uptime or maybe a downtime, but you won't see that the risk that the employees are facing on the ground. And data might not tell you that employees will have to stay overnight because there's no transport. This is where, as people who build on tech or build other types of infrastructure, need to understand that everything you build on is going to be impacting a human being. There'll be a human being who touches it, there'll be a human being who uses it, and there'll be a human being who's affected by it. So if you're building something, you're building tech for someone, or you're building a product for someone, understand this, and that will take you further. You can't go on the ground for every single thing, but track the right metrics that help you get the human usage. Work on the right metrics that help you understand your customer and what they're using on. In headquarters, we looked at a system down being an inconvenience. We might not prioritize it as high. And if you saw that it took 2 days to fix, that's a reasonable service level agreement. But the customer, we would assume they would just be mildly annoyed. But what we didn't realize is that when the system was down, there is a risk of physical danger. Every hour after 4:30 p.m., the risks increase. And this is not a tech problem. This is a safety problem. This is a user experience problem. And you need to be able to work out between the two realities.